How's it going, Dopamon fans? You got Ryan and Alex back. Usually we do a lot of serious hockey content, but today we want to do something a little bit less serious. We're doing Armchair GMs on CapFriendly. We're gonna take a look at a bunch of these trades, a bunch of these moves, what people think, and we're gonna make fun of them. What do you think, Ryan?
I'm down. There's a lot of if you're not familiar with Cat Friendly's Armchair GM mode and Trade Simulator interactive modes on Cat Friendly, so check them out. We'll link them in the description. It's always a blast to look
Yeah,
at
there's a
some of the
reason they
things.
call them Armchair.
Yeah, there's a reason why they call people are called Armchair GMs. It's easy to make trades on Cat Friendly Simulator, but not so much in real life. Yeah, we're gonna focus
First off,
on this video. We're gonna focus on Toronto trades because I'm the Leaf fan, and it's probably the biggest, the most. The most trades, the most simulations on this website is a lot
yeah,
of
most
Toronto
of
trades.
yeah.
A lot of traffic on Toronto, obviously.
Even if they don't have a lot of cap space, it's always fun to see these trades.
And the
Yeah, the
first
first one.
trade here, Alex, you've sent me this. This is on the what's it called?
Yeah,
Trade
the
Machine.
trade
Trade
machine.
Machine Interactive on Cap Friendly. Just walk us through this because I don't quite understand this trade.
Right, it took me a while to really understand what was happening here because I thought it was a mistake. Because you have Arizona giving up Goligoski for the third, and Detroit getting Goligoski for the third. But then you have Toronto giving up a second for,
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I don't
and I thought this was a
understand.
mistake, right? Like, okay, maybe Goligoski's coming to Toronto, but then why would Toronto not just deal in the first place with, why go through Detroit? Why give the pickup to go?
It's not like they're not retaining salary. They're
Nope.
not flipping for like a prospect or something. It's just like the Toronto Maple Leafs giving up a second round pick when they could
For
have given up a
nothing.
third
For free.
for literally nothing. And maybe I looked at this more and more. Maybe this guy's trying to be like, oh, actually, Goligoski is going to Toronto. It's a three-way deal, and like Detroit gets two picks, and or a pick, and Arizona gets one, and it flips around. But I don't
No,
understand this one.
there's no way to make this work that makes any sense where a team isn't giving up nothing, like something for nothing.
Moving on here. This is another Leafs trade for the deadline. The first trade here, Nick Foligno with retained Hollander Hirvin in a second. That's actually not. I don't hate that trade. The trade I want to focus on here is Frederik Andersen in a fourth for Anton Forsberg of the Ottawa Senators.
And don't forget to mention that there is also $1 million retained by Toronto for
By
Freddie Anderson
Toronto.
in this one, because apparently Ottawa's the one that needs, is in the cap restraint, and Toronto isn't.
This is a goalie who's played what 11 NHL games in his life, Anton Forsberg,
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah.
They picked him off of waivers. Like he's been on waivers twice.
This is a
Twice.
free goaltender. Someone you get the, 10 shots at the beginning of the season, when goalies go on waivers and stuff.
I can't tell if this was made by an angry Leafs fan who doesn't like Frederik Andersen anymore or a Sens fan who's dreaming a little too big. I can't actually tell, but this is actually insane.
Even the first trade, I think is a little bit much.
I don't think Nick Foligno is a guy you go after, to be honest.
No, yeah, exactly. Not nothing against Nick Foligno, but not for Toronto and not at that price. He, you know me, I'm a huge fan of Roni Hirvonen. I think he's going to be, a solid, third line, maybe fourth center.
Yeah, this is
What
two really
point?
good prospects in a second
Hmm.
for a rental, an older rental as you're playing your bottom six. I think you can do that
Yeah.
so much easier in some way else without giving up like three substantial pieces in a trade to Columbus. I don't know. I don't know about any of this.
And I like the idea of maybe getting Anderson out and getting a backup, like a 1B even behind Campbell. If, that trade's gonna happen, I'd love to see it, but for Forsberg,
If
the
this
whole point
trade
to
was
to get value.
Forsberg, If this trade was Forsberg for a fourth, I wouldn't
Yeah,
I wouldn't blink
that's
I wouldn't blink at it. It's like
you're
okay,
like,
whatever.
okay,
Goalie depth.
yeah, right. But Anderson,
You're gonna bet
that's
on Forsberg, and you're probably gonna lose him to waivers. That's the other thing.
yeah,
Is he ahead of Hutchison in your depth chart? As soon as like you're
yeah.
carrying
You
three
have to send
goalies,
him down to the
I don't
taxi
get it.
squad again.
He's gonna have to send him through waivers again.
Hmm.
Oh my goodness. Next trade here, we got Taylor Hall, half retained. I think any trade involving Taylor Hall is going to be about half retained. I don't know
Yeah,
how
yeah.
any team contending takes his $8 million. That's fine. For Pierre Engvall and a fourth again. This fourth round pick keeps
And that
popping up.
fourth round pick is the hottest on the in Toronto. That's like everybody's got their eyes open. The pro scouts are like, "What's this fourth round pick in Toronto doing?"
Everyone's after our fourth, baby. It's it.
Everyone's that fourth.
That's the hottest commodity we have. Screw
Mhm.
Timothy Liljegren, Robertson. It's our fourth round pick. And Pierre Engvall.
I think he is Engvall's tradable. Like, I don't think he's necessary for Toronto. He's like a bottom six winger option, right? That, if he went out and the team got, got something back better, like, I could see him maybe being a little bit expendable.
For sure, I don't think he's the main trade chip in a Taylor Hall
Hmm.
trade.
Fair. Especially to Buffalo. What are they really getting back here?
Yeah,
Just
a bottom
getting
six
rid of,
forward.
yeah, and like a fourth from Toronto. Like, that's not.
He's not dealing for
They already
positional
have a
strength.
bottom six forward in Jeff Skinner. Isn't that good enough?
Yeah, no, he'll replace Jeff Skinner easy. Here's a couple Leaf trades, all of which I don't understand. Specifically, I mean, we'll talk about the Adrian Kempe for Pierre Engvall in a first. First of all, I'm not a huge. I like Adrian Kempe. I don't know if that's a guy. I don't know if he's the guy that like puts Toronto over the edge. Um, especially for a first round pick, it's kind of yikes. But the thing
Hmm.
that I want to know is what happened with Barabanov and Sabrin. Why we
Yeah.
seven?
What's
What?
what's wrong with Barabanov? And why a seventh? And why in 2023?
Yeah, I didn't even notice that.
Oh, you
Here's
gotta
something
wait
you want to do
years
here's
for.
something you want to do for if you're a hockey team going into the playoffs. Give away all your depth forwards.
Like, I've noticed, the playoffs, you need just that extra grit, right? It's a grind. It's tough. It's already been a crazy season. Like, why would you give, like, these are the guys who are making, like, league minimum. You need these guys around. It should be the other way, where they're giving up the seventh for a Scott Sabrin.
All right, here's some trades, Alex. I'm curious what you think about these. You can see on my screen. A lot of movement in this one for
This is a lot of movement.
it's a lot of movement. Alexander Kerfoot and a third for Sam Bennett.
No,
No,
no.
no.
I think that I'd almost maybe flipped the third, right? Like, if Bennett and a third for Kerfoot, like, if Toronto's willing to take a chance on him. But I think Kerfoot's doing really well. He's a middle six center.
Yeah, Kerfoot
That's
is a better
the
player than Sam
downgrade.
Bennett is.
Yeah, right. Like, I know Bennett's, he's been trying to hit, at times this season's hit his stride, but like, he's just not what Kerfoot is. And I actually like David Savard. I know there's a few other trades that we had gone through here that I was looking at, and some of them had David Savard coming to Toronto, half retained, and I think that's a for Justin Hole. I don't know, because like, I think that I'd like to keep, if I Toronto, like, even keep him, have a lot more options for right shot D in, for Toronto, but
Yeah, I would
I don't
definitely
think
find
that's
a way to
a
keep
horrible
him.
trade. Yeah. Like, there's
There,
something there.
there are some people in and around Leafland that think we should sell high on Justin Hall and that this is kind
Hmm.
of as good as he's gonna get. Um, and David Savard, I think, is a better defensive defenseman than Justin
He
Hall
is.
is.
Yeah. He is
So I
definitely
don't
more well-rounded.
hate
Like,
this if you want to
hmm
take advantage and flip them, but you still need I think you still need defensive depth going into the playoffs. So like who else do you get?
Yeah, like I'd want to keep him, maybe add, like a, Engvall or something in, like a different kind of piece, Marinson. And like the second's a little bit much with
If you
Hall.
maybe you could go Kerfoot in that third in replace of Hall in this second
Yeah.
for this trade. I don't know what
Yeah,
the price
Kerfoot
on
in the
Savard
third.
would be. Depends on I think what Ekholm goes for if he goes. Kind of set the market, but I don't know if
Hmm.
this is kind of around the ballpark. I think of what Savard is worth. I think.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it's a fair deal there.
We got Michael Granlund for Engvall, Derek Kachintsev, and a second. And he had a note, doesn't feel like enough, but you
Yeah.
never know. I mean, it also doesn't, to me, doesn't feel like enough either. I mean, Derek Kachintsev is probably not the right guy. It's probably like, for Granlund, it's probably a guy like Robertson or Sandin in a second. Like, it's a top
Hmm.
prospect for Michael Granlund. I don't think Michael
He
Granlund
has
is
had a
worth
good
that.
year.
He's not worth
Yeah.
the
No.
price that Nashville's gonna want.
Hmm. And where he slides in Toronto, like does it I guess they show him where he'd be on the line, right? Like do they have him on the third line center? Like they replace Kerfoot for Granlund?
Yeah, and they have because they have a bunch of trades. They have Bennett on the fourth
Hmm.
line with Adam Brooks and Jason Spezza with Joe Thornton getting bumped out of the lineup. That's interesting. Anyway, I'm not worried
Yeah.
about the lineup combinations.
Hmm.
We kind of buried
I'm
the
just
lead
trying
on
to
this one.
understand their thinking.
We kind of
And then
buried
yeah,
the
the last.
lead, and the last one here, I think, is very interesting. It's John Gibson for Nick Robertson, Freddie Anderson, Rasmus Sandin, and a first. Now,
That's a big price tag.
that's a lot to give up for John Gibson. I,
And
l-
like, back to
I
Anaheim.
yeah, flip back to Anaheim. I like the idea for both Anaheim and Toronto for a John Gibson trade. I think it would be good. I think John Gibson is still a very, very good goaltender on a really, really shitty team in Anaheim this year. But goaltenders and trades always go for way less than they're actually like worth
Hmm.
to a team. They may be valuable and all this, and he's a good goalie. He's not worth two of our
Was the
best
last
prospects and a first.
was the last time a goalie was traded, a starting goalie? Was it Matt Murray at the draft day?
Robin Leonard last trade deadline day, maybe the biggest one. Matt Murray
Yeah,
wasn't
Matt
traded, was he?
Matt Murray
Oh, he
to
was traded.
Ottawa was a second round pick and a nothing prospect, and Jonathan Gruden, a second basically for Matt Murray. That's it.
Yeah, the last big
Wasn't a
goalie
lot.
was traded at the trade deadline, I think, was Robin Leonard. Oh yeah, the Blackhawks did this weird. I can't see
Right.
it on my screen. I've cropped it weird, but
Hmm.
he was traded with Martin Jerkowls, and then they got a fifth round pick. Like they didn't get a lot
No,
for Robin Leonard, who at the time was a really
no.
good goalie. I put in about the same as John Gibson. If you're
Hmm.
gonna get Freddie Anderson back just for flipping cap space and all that for the Leafs, it's Frederik Anderson and like another piece. It's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
Nick
piece.
Robertson and Rasmus
Not even a
Sandin.
big piece.
It's not even one of these three big pieces.
A third. That
Yeah,
fourth that maybe everybody's after.
yeah, are really valuable fourth. If they want like a prospect, maybe a guy like
Well, there
Dargichin,
is
or
no
Adam
third.
Brooks.
That's why everybody's after the fourth. That's the best pick you guys have this year, apparently.
Yeah, after these trades,
Hmm.
after our first and second go and our third go,
Yeah.
we have nothing left. But yeah, goalies aren't worth this much. So look at this. This is the first cap friendly trade I think we're talking about today that I actually don't hate.
There's a lot to comprehend in
It's a
this
lot
trade.
to
Wow.
comprehend in this trade, and I think you kind of have to do both trades at the same time because you're giving up Freddie Anderson as a goalie.
Yeah.
We've talked about this. I like Brandon Montour,
Yeah, you know what?
even in Buffalo.
Yeah, we've been watching some of Buffalo's goals against, and we've been really breaking down Montour's game, like their defense's game overall. And Montour is like the only defenseman we've seen on Buffalo that sticks to his check, knows his positioning. You know, he's not a top 2D, but he's pretty fucking responsible.
Yeah, having Kerfoot is the guy who it gets moved in all cap situations, right, for Toronto. He's the odd man out.
Mhm.
Frederik Andersen is, if you're done with him, whatever. Rodion Amirov is, your one of your better prospects, one of your higher prospects in the system, and Adam Burks is like a kind of a B to C level prospect. For Taylor Hall at half retain, Brandon Montour, and a third, I do this trade.
I don't see why the thirds come into Toronto.
No, I mean, yeah,
You can save I'd like keep Amirov, Kerfoot and Anderson for Hall and Montour as a start. Maybe a little bit giving up a little bit more for Toronto. Maybe the fourth, maybe the third next year or something. But like Kerfoot, in my mind, I try and like balance it. I see Kerfoot for Montour being a fairly one for one kind of thing. Anderson for Hall might not be. You add just a little bit more. Add Brooks. They seem to want Brooks in the pick, but for Amirov in there too, that's that's fucking tough. He's gonna be he would be in this case a huge piece for Buffalo.
oh yeah,
They'd be like, oh,
absolutely, it'd be
look,
a big
this
prospect for
fixed
Buffalo.
Hall. I mean, this fixed Eichel or something. I wouldn't give up. I wouldn't give up Amirov. That would be like the game breaker for me, the trade breaker, I guess.
Yeah, maybe you can flip that prospect in and out for somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Freddie Anderson,
Engvall.
if you think Freddie Anderson, if you're Kyle Dubas and you know Freddie Anderson's hurt or he's not,
Hmm.
he's not the guy you're going with anymore. He's a UFA. You're not going to re-sign him. You're going to go with Campbell and someone else. Maybe you re-sign Bernier after this. I don't know. Jonathan Bernier coming back to Toronto would be a roller coaster in of itself. But
Yeah,
looking
that's
at these lines kind of written out, Hall bumps down Galchenyuk into a really good third line with Mikheyev, Engvall, and Galch. And then Thornton, Spezza, Simmons is kind of your old man line. Uh, Bogosian gets probably moved in and out of the lineup. I know Montour can play both the left and right side. If you want to bump Dermott, that's fine. And then you got Jack and John. Jack Campbell and Jonathan Bernier as your goaltender.
yeah.
This is a really good. I mean, this is the depth defenseman you need, and it's Taylor Hall. So
Hmm. I
I
I
don't.
do really like the Montour fit. That looks really nice in there.
Yeah, I like that too. I mean, if we can get a guy like that who's not, you know, overly priced or like a guy you can just get that'll drop into like the bottom pairing. They have Muzzin and Riley switched on here. I just noticed, but like
Yeah,
whatever, whatever.
yeah. Same. You have Montour and Muzzin, whatever, however it ends up working. You have like, a solid six defensemen at least.
Yeah, I don't hate this trade.
Nope.
Oh, and this last one I just wanted to laugh at. Braden Colburn to Toronto for a fourth and a seventh. The fourth again comes up.
Fourth. That
Uh,
fourth.
And also James Reimer's return to Toronto.
Yeah.
Bring back James Reimer. Do it.
Yeah, if there's gonna be a backup, to Campbell, why not James Reimer?
Yeah.
Though they don't have Anderson going out.
They have Anderson on the LTIR.
Oh, okay, they see him as of course, of
So if
course.
he's on LT, then we get $5 million in
Hmm.
cap space.
Hmm.
We'll pull a Nikita Kucherov in
Yeah.
Tampa. Yeah, Montour's got me thinking.
Hmm.
I might be
Hmm.
liking more and more on Brandon
Yeah.
Montour. That might be a
I yeah, me too.
cool addition to a
That's
trade
another
with
one that's
Buffalo.
yeah. Or David Savard. David Savard or Brandon Montour. Those are the two I'd love to see in Toronto.
All right.
Some kind of deal, one of those two. Yeah, and don't forget to let us know down below which trade you guys think was the worst. For me,
Yeah.
is the first one.
Yeah, and if you're a Leaf fan, what do you want the Leafs to do on trade deadline day? I know
Yeah,
I
drop
want.
some crazy trades down below, right?
Yeah, put some trades down below what you think should happen. I know I'm leaning more toward a depth D. We have Galchenyuk, who I think is our kind of trade deadline forward acquisition. He's done really well playing on the second line, so I don't think you really need to add Taylor Hall or anyone at this point. You can if the right thing comes along and it fits. But I think defenseman and maybe even goaltender if it comes out that Anderson's kind of done or isn't going to be the same this year, then you maybe think about getting goaltender as well. But defensemen I think are going to be crucial because
Hmm.
what happens if Muzzin and Dermott go down? Who's going in? Marinson and Sandine? I don't. Uh oh.
Yeah, that's tough.
Anyway, make sure to hit like and subscribe below this video, and catch us on some more hockey content. We're gonna do a few more of these, I think, up into the trade deadline. These are fun for us to record. Just kind
Yeah,
of
this is easy. It's
messing
fun.
around with
Way
Armchair
to
GM.
connect with some fans.
Yeah, messing around with Armchair GM and such.
Makes you realize Toronto fans are whack.
Yeah, no, all fan bases are stupid, but Toronto's is specifically really
Yeah,
dumb. So,
coming from a Toronto fan.
yeah, Toronto's fan base is yikes. Peace. What's going on YouTube? I pointed at the wrong camera.